Welcome, friends, to the Great British Mickey Waffle, our first show of 2025, and from wherever in the world you listen or watch us. Thank you so much for all your support, and we are wishing you all a very happy, healthy, and magical new year. Welcome to 2025 with the Great British Mickey Waffle.
Now my wheels in motion and my windows open with the wind blowing in my hair. I'm driving down the highway, gonna do this my way. I can feel it in the air. Here I go.
As we embark on the show, there will no doubt send many booking their next trip to Orlando. Can I just take a moment to wish my fellow waffle a very happy new year too? I've taken my hat off from the party last night, and happy new year, Ben.
Happy New Year, John. I can't believe it's 2025.
No, neither can I. No, last time I looked at the calendar, I was in Orlando, and it was up last August. That was basically it.
I think that's what the show's going to be about. It's like planning our next trip, because I know that we've had a lot of talk of over the Christmas break of like, oh, where do we want to go next year? And it's always going to be Orlando, isn't it?
It gets like that. Isn't it strange? It's just like, yeah. I think we'll come to that later in the show. Happy New Year, Becca, as well.
Hello, Happy New Year, John. How are you? How was your Christmas?
Yeah, I'm good. I was glorious, as always. I love Christmas. Yeah, everybody, look, I've even still kept the tree there because it's not got to the 6th of January.
So,
Yeah.
got time to knock it down, yeah?
Yeah, I am Mr. Festivity himself. Everybody knows that. I am the most glorious lover of the season of Christmas forevermore. There we go. I'll try not to giggle, and I'll say Happy New Year, Claire, and see if we get away with it.
Yeah, Happy New Year, John. And what I need to know is, much like some famous celebrities who turned up at work the next day without having been home, are you still in the clothes you were wearing last night when you were out partying for New Year's Eve, or have you managed to?
No, I'm Epcotted up. Look, I'm in the Epcot Spirit jersey. I'm sorted.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm not. I couldn't do that last night.
Would you spend New Year's at a Disney park? Would you be in Epcot for New Year's Eve?
I've done New Year in Disneyland Paris, and it was awful. It was horrible.
New Year's Eve at Magic Kingdom.
Yeah,
which was quite good actually. It wasn't.
Yeah, it wasn't terrible.
Yeah, it was quite an interesting music loop you hear when you go around on the park.
I do it at a resort, but not in the park.
Yeah, and I think Epcot is
people.
Epcot is a place to really avoid. Yeah,
imagine what
and that's going.
It's bad enough on a Tuesday afternoon. Can you imagine?
I'll watch the fireworks from the top of the Riviera.
Yep.
I think that's probably a really.
That would be a good place if they got that outside bar at Topolino's going.
Yeah.
That would be a really great, unless it's really cold, because it has been quite cold in Orlando recently. But yeah.
I like
a couple of
Possibly
blankets.
Dahlia.
They don't put that in the. Don't put that in all the travel brochures, do they? You know,
It can get a bit
chilly.
It can get a bit chilly. There we go. So yeah. But anyway.
Yeah. Happy New Year to everyone. Actually, it's
absolutely. And again, with the eggnog season behind us, right, and with all those travel adverts, because like I don't know about you, from like you go from that whole thing where all the supermarkets on the build up to Christmas are advertising sort of constantly, and then you get to Christmas Eve and the shop shut, and suddenly the next thing you know, it's all the travel companies are basically trying to say whose sale is bigger, better, or simply charging the same price as they were sort of mid-October before they bumped all the prices up. Anyway, before the sale. Let's not even
it's either a competition between the travel companies or DFS having advertising that. That's pretty much what happens between Christmas and New Year.
Yeah, I think that's it. I'm going to extend like a New Year challenge to all of you. Right, I'm going to give you a stipulated budget of what would be your dream trip within that budget. The only rules, and actually, I can actually see some. I actually envisage people again listening to the podcast in the car, and they're actually thinking, "Oh my word! Right, what's this going to cost us?" Right, just do your own editing as we go along. Right, the only rules it needs to include flights, hotels, tickets, for whatever parts you want to go, and your budget is per person. So obviously, if you're taking a big family, it might that might extend that budget a little bit more.
Family of 12.
Well,
It's like Home Alone.
Yeah.
And the amount you're spending on flights and
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
The budget's per
So-
person.
Yeah.
It is
Just-
per person, right? Now, unfortunately, I'm going to make this a really random thing. So we're going to have to think on our feet. We're going to have to make this one of those moments in which we know exact numbers will change, because actually, if you're booking flights and you're booking hotels, numbers change instantly anyway. So yeah, so we'll go on.
How many times you go and look at a flight and then it's like, oh, I'll come back to an hour later, and it's like, oh, it's gone down £100 or gone up £100. It's like
Clear-
it's a
clear
life
all-
system.
That's what your
Clear all your
incognito
cookies.
browser's for.
Yeah, clear all cookies. Absolutely.
That's what your spare laptop is for, just to like.
Incognito browsing window is
Yeah.
built for booking flights.
Or check on your phone using
Yeah.
4 or 5G rather than your home Wi-Fi and things like that. There you go. So this is going to be a show full of little hints and tips. Yeah, trying to get
certainly
one
is.
over, isn't it? To try and get the price on check. We've got a random generator, which is actually going to assign a budget to each member of the team. And that random generator will then work overtime to select an order in which we go. So, are we ready? I'm
Let's go for it.
I'm dreading this. I'm dreading this. Right. Anyway, so first selection. Here we go. Random generator says the budget is 4,000 to 5,000.
Oh,
And
Nice budget.
that,
I like that.
that monetary selection, give me a second. The generator is going. And it's going to Ben. Ben, it's over to
well,
you.
I like that budget. That's not too bad, actually. Yeah.
What do you mean
okay, so-
not too bad? Good
That's
grief,
not too
man.
bad. I don't know. It's not enough for me to buy some more Disney Vacation Club points, but at least going to get me a nice 2-week trip in.
I'm not sure. My bank manager will be phoning me up, asking for a renegotiation of terms on that one. But
Well, I'm intrigued. Okay, I want to go in August, and I want to go for my birthday, so let's go mid-August. So I don't know, 13th to the 27th of August next year. So as it's just us two people. Nearest, I like to fly by Virgin Atlantic, so we're going to go from Heathrow to Orlando. And I'm thinking on that budget, I'm not going to go premium. I'm going to go economy classic. Because if I need to, I'm going to put in the budget somewhere that on the way back, if I need to buy some more suitcases and pay for the extra case, I might do a cheeky, sneaky upgrade on the way home. But I'll leave that in the budget. I'm going to do 7 nights at Boardwalk to begin with. Because I'm thinking, the good thing about staying at a deluxe hotel, you can do the extended evening hours, like Magic Kingdom and Epcot. So
Is
you can do it-
that in a standard room, Ben, or are you using DVC points?
Oh, I think I'm just going to do a standard room. Let's do a standard room. Because at Boardwalk, you've got a couple of categories. You get like Boardwalk View. You get the one that used to scare me when we stayed there before was the Pool View.
Full view of the cloud.
Which it used,
No,
yeah,
clown.
it used to be with the
Get
clown.
money back for that one.
I know I'm not a fan of clowns, but also I don't like those nanny chairs that are in the lobby of the Boardwalk. But part of that, I think that's. And 7 nights at Boardwalk, I think, lovely in there. But I want to do Universal because we all know Epic Universe is opening this year. So opening in May, so perfect in August. So 7 nights at Endless Summer. We've stayed there a few years ago. Absolutely loved it. I know you don't get the express passes, but actually, if I'm staying there for 7 nights, you'd still get the early entry, which an hour at the park, I think, is plenty enough for to get into Islands of Adventure and either jump on Hagrid's or jump on Velocicoaster each morning. And then once I've finished in Islands of Adventure, I can then pop over to Universal Studios, and you get so going with tickets, I'm going to need 14-day ticket with Universal, and with Epic Universe, it complicates tickets a little bit more because Epic Universe only allows you in for 1 day on that 14 days ticket. So we're going to have to do a little bit of planning and work out exactly where we're going to go. But pricing that up, okay, flights in mid-August for 2 people, 2 adults, 2,320.
Is that economy?
That's economy.
That's still quite expensive, isn't it?
Yeah,
That's-
yeah. Is that from
Yeah, and
London, man, as well?
Yeah,
Is
that's
that
from Heathrow to Orlando. So yeah.
Yeah, because I know. Thinking ahead, and I would say to people, we've all done a bit of homework on this. I wouldn't say we just sort of randomly on
What a whim.
on the internet.
It's very interesting
Not
to
randomly picking
choose
numbers out of thin air.
summer holidays versus going 2 weeks later and going the first 2 weeks of
Oh,
September.
yeah.
Oh,
Totally
yeah.
different.
Yeah, and it's one of those things. We're lucky that we don't have children, so we don't normally have to worry about going this sort of time of year.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
that's what happens when I'm born in mid August. I want to go for my birthday. I'm going to have to
Yeah.
suck up those more expensive prices.
There has been sticker shock on the flights
Yes.
this year.
Can I just add in as well, because actually doing a little bit of prep for the show and things like that, I'd looked at Manchester flights for a similar kind of dates, and they are currently a similar price.
Yeah.
So whereas previously, what I'm trying to say is previously, if you went to London, if you live in the north, you tended to find you used to be able to get a little bit of better value if you went down to London, and it seems to be at the moment that
It's like neck and neck, isn't it? It's really
very
so close.
much so.
It's not worth the cost of, because I remember a couple of years ago.
You went to Manchester.
You did.
On Aer Lingus,
Yeah.
and it was like we went over Christmas, and it was like saving of like £900 each.
Yeah.
Of like, okay, we're going on like Christmas Eve. It was a crazy price, and it was incredible. But it's one of those ones that, is it worth that 4-hour, 5-hour drive? On that case, it was. But when it's only like, I don't know, it's £50 each, it's not worth it.
It's not.
You might as well go for the nearest one. And when I've looked at, because I thought about flying into Tampa, and sometimes it's cheaper, but sometimes it's more expensive, and it doesn't make any sense. It's one of those. It's just the luck of the draw. Yeah. You just have to like go choose your dates, know what your dates are, but also be flexible. And I've just chosen the dates that suit me, and I know they fit in this budget. So, but if I had a smaller budget, then I have to pick and choose whether. But
It's like flying midweek rather than the weekend. If you can do that, and you have to go on the school holidays, you will save some money by not flying on a Saturday, particularly.
Yeah.
Even if you can fly on a Sunday, it's cheaper than flying on a Saturday. And if you can fly on a Monday or a Tuesday, even better.
I think Tuesday and Wednesday I find tend to be the cheapest. This date I've got was from Wednesday to Wednesday.
Yeah,
And I remember I did on a Saturday, and it was like an extra £250.
yeah, it's really Saturday flights are a massive premium, because that's just when people are
Finish work on a Friday and then go on like a holiday on a Saturday.
Yeah.
But going to the tickets, the 14-day combo ticket with 1 day for 2 people was 1,760, which I didn't think was too bad for all of Disney, all of Universal, and your 1 day. No, that's for 2 people. That's
Attraction tickets, I believe.
1,000, how much?
760.
1,760.
160. And that's using current voucher code from Attraction Tickets Direct. I know it's around Christmas time, so January sales, you are going to get, sometimes you do get discount. So be 880.
The same figure I got for that ticket. So
Wow.
when I was looking at it
And
earlier.
I think that's something I've learned, because for our tickets for our next trip that we're just doing Disney, we would manage to get really good prices by booking on the Black Friday tickets. So it's knowing, by planning far in advance, you can sometimes get a good deal on the tickets. And I know that Disney seem to have reduced their tickets for the summer because Epic Universe is open, which makes sense. So it's like they want to drag as many people. If you're flying all the way and going to Universal, you're also going to want to pop into Disney as well.
I think that attraction tickets price as well was it 20% based on which on ticket pricing over the past 10 years is quite a super reduction on your outlay as well. I've got to say that's a really big
tickets. It's really the only thing I'd give you is
get them booked, Ben. Get them booked.
Yes, when you see a price of a tickets that you're happy with, book them. And also, don't look back, because I remember once I got on your memories on Facebook. I remember once I took a screenshot and it appeared as one of my memories on my phone, and it was what we paid for tickets in 2016.
Yeah, don't look at that.
And it was like just to get people £299 a person for 14
you
days.
just sit and cry. You sit and cry when you look at that stuff. You know, we've all just spent £100 on a turkey a couple of weeks ago. Last week. So, let's
speak for yourself. We got a nice one for 20 quid from
Is he?
Yeah, it's grim up north. We know the places to go.
It's cheaper up north, John, isn't it?
It is. Okay, for some things, it's not for others.
Yeah.
But I'll leave it at that. Yeah.
So for my totals, I've got the 7 nights at Boardwalk, which are 2,740. a room,
Okay.
and endless summer it's 1,027. So at the minute, Disney are doing the up to 4 nights free. So it depends on the length you stay. So when that, including that, are 2 nights free. And in the endless summer, there's a 40% discount if you spend over 5 days as a minimum booking for Universal hotels.
That's good.
So it's quite a good offer. We booked that before. It's a minimum of 4 nights, gives you 40% discount.
Right. Hang on a minute. Right. 'cause
John's writing this down.
I'm writing this down, Ben, because actually the discounting bit for August at the moment is actually unparalleled from what we've seen for so long. And you wouldn't actually think it was possible. And if you listen to this, if you're in the car, you can't write it down. Go back and listen again and just make notes. That's all I'm doing as Ben's saying this, because from things that I've looked at in prep for the show, but from what Ben's saying as well, because I didn't go as far in a discounting for hotels because I was feeling a little bit sort of tight on that. And there's a little bit of leeway here, isn't there? And I think just I know I said, and I'll say it quietly because the kids are coming, but there's a little bit of a plan for this summer, but it's just me and Alison. It's not the kids. But if they catch wind of that, that might be an issue. But I'm planning too, but I'm not planning at budget. So
It is very interesting. There are so many different deals, and I remember we booked to stay in the summer before, and we stayed there for 4 nights, and it was purely because of those 4 nights that you then get the discount. And so it wasn't 40%; it was 25%. Sorry, and it was 25% discount with Universal. That when you stay over 4 nights, that it's a big chunk, and it's with Epic Universe opening, and I know we only get 1 day in the park this year, but going forward into sort of 2026 and further on, how putting a Universal sort of stay in there, because we've said that was it Lowe's Royal Pacific to get the express passes. It's a calculation of working out what you want to do when you're staying at Universal, how much. But we thoroughly enjoyed our time at Endless Summer. I thought it was really good, and for staying £1,000 for a week.
Can I ask, Brent, have you ever done the maths to see whether it is cheaper to book 4 nights than it is to book 3 nights?
Yes. 4 nights turns out cheaper than 3 nights with the 25% discount.
So even if you booked for 4 nights, but you only wanted to stay 3 nights, it would be cheaper to book all 4.
It would be, but you
just not stay there for the last night.
Yeah.
Not that I'm advocating people should do that. But if you wanted to stay for 3 nights, if it was me,
if it works out cheaper, then you're getting that discount.
Stay for 3 nights, I would book it for 4, get the discount, save a bit of money, and just not stay there one night.
But the other thing to bear in mind is
people have done that with car hire, haven't they, as well? When you book a fly drive, sometimes fly drive, when flights come out cheaper with a fly drive,
so
you actually don't want the car hire. Some people don't turn up and say, I don't need the car now, and just like...
I've had that previously with a hotel stay, actually. So it was cheaper to book a package with a hotel that we were never going to stay in than it was with just a flight.
Yeah.
So that's why I just wondered at the moment with that level of discount at 4 days or over, because I know our trip in the summer, we've got 3 nights. And actually now I'm thinking, do I cancel it and book 4 nights to save some money?
Can I also add as well, if you're staying for 4 nights and it's your day that your flight's leaving, you've also got that added bit where you don't have to get out your room at 10:30, 11 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah.
You book that.
You stay in that room until you have to leave for the airport. Yeah. And if you're up at Universal end,
you're closer as well.
You're basically, because most
20 minutes,
depending on flight times, obviously, because I know some flights leave about tea time, some later in the evening. So if you're on the really late sort of 9 p.m. flight, you don't have to be at the airport until 7 p.m. or 6 p.m. whatever. You can actually and that's for me. That's always a real worry because I hate that last day where I have to put everything in the car, and then you feel as if you can't leave the car in a vulnerable place because everything's in there. Your whole life is
carry everything that's important.
Our flight in August now is because of Virgin to change their flight times for 2025. We are now leaving at 10:20 is our flight on the way home in the evening.
That's much better.
That's great.
That's a really good time.
It's like we're going to land back at 12 the next day.
That's all right.
It
Doesn't matter if it's
really-
9 o'clock or 12 o'clock. It makes no
No.
difference.
It really surprised me. It was like, oh, that's
Yeah.
the only downside on the way out now. We're not leaving till 3:20 in the afternoon.
Ah, well.
But it is what it is. Can't complain. But yeah, no. So my total at the minute is £7,982, and I have budgeted in that I want to hire a car, because if I'm staying at Universal or staying at Disney, I want a bit of flexibility to eat off site. So I have priced up a Tesla, as you probably were expecting, £770 for 2 weeks.
That's a lot.
You're the only person I know that goes on to car hire place and actually clicks on the Tesla button. I've got to say,
But I have an alternative. I've got to a RAV4, a 600 watts. So
Probably works out about the same price in the end. By the time you filled up the fuel a couple of times.
Yeah.
And it is one of those. If it's like the experience we had with Hertz last time, I probably won't be getting a Tesla this time.
Yeah.
So
I had a good experience with Hertz last summer, so I'll just balance that out for anyone who's listening. That's it.
Yeah. And I think
But I had a petrol car, just to say.
What was the total then, Ben, per person?
so. Total per person, including the car hire, that would be 4,300.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I've left a bit of extra money in that budget for splashing
your bag.
Well, you're going to get a Dooney and Burke, and also luggage on the way back. Spend a bit of merchandise, have a couple of signature meals, maybe Topolino's breakfast. Just
I was going to say, none of this includes food. Just
No.
No.
no. For food's one that I think everyone has different tastes, and it's very difficult.
Exactly. I think it's impossible to include food.
It's the only way to do it. Everyone's going to do things differently, and you can do the dining plan isn't free at the minute. So when that offer comes back, probably in April, it will change. But not everyone wants the dining plan. How many times have we been and looked at it and gone like, actually, we don't need it. But the way we eat, especially by having a car and eating off site, there are so many places that we like to try.
I know that we've talked about dining plan before, the pros and cons and stuff.
Yeah.
So I think not to include food in this discussion is probably the right way forward.
I actually think as well, at some point within the next 12 months of podcast as well, we will revisit the dining plan. And I think, not looking in a crystal ball, but in some ways it'll depend on what Epic Universe takes out of Disney and stuff like that. Right, I'm gonna move us on, because actually the random generator. This is great. I love this. It's just
I have visions of you having this massive, great big wheel like Game.
I was going to say, it's
it'd be good, wouldn't it? It's like
isn't it the price is right? Isn't it?
Wheel of Fortune, isn't it? Wheel of Fortune.
Yeah.
It's just like spin it round. And the next one, it's the bougie one. Oh my word! This is this is what everyone wanted, right?
Okay.
If you listen at home, right, this is the one that is never going to happen, right? So I'm going to just put myself on mute now, right? I can't do this. This is just like the biggest waste.
Someone was lucky enough to win the Euro Millions over Christmas,
right?
Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, right. So that's the first one. So we've got £10,000 per person, right? So random generate time again. You ready? And 3, 2. Oh dear me! Before it was written, right? We're all going. Claire, the rest of the show's yours. Here we go.
All the budget.
Bougie Claire.
Bougie Claire, right? So £10,000 plus per person. I have to say is a ridiculous amount of money to spend on a holiday. There might be somebody who wants to spend that, and I am just going to go for it and not worry about the budget. I'm going to have an unlimited budget and picked out a few things that are places to stay, I think. So I'm going to fly club business, obviously, and I'm going to do it for my family, three adults, one child. So Morgan obviously is an adult, Libby is 12, so she counts as a child on the tween age on the plane, but adult in parks and stuff. So I'm going to do it for 4 people, so the budget is multiplied by 4, obviously. Now I did have a look at the cost of flights. Again, I'm going August, because that's actually when we're going this year. So I thought I'd just do the same time, but a couple of days left. So I looked at the 16th to the 30th of August. So flying on a Saturday, because I don't care about budget. So I'm going to fly on a Saturday, despite what we just talked about. But because I'm going to fly business, I actually looked at Virgin, because I think that the upper class product is better from Heathrow than the BA Club World cabin from Gatwick. And the reason for that is that I've done both. The BA Club World cabin is the old Club World cabin. So it's the one which has got the forward and backward facing seats that are all a little bit broken. There's very little storage. It's not the A3500.
Yeah,
which are the nice. The A3, yeah, right.
Yeah.
So they're the lovely new club suites
Thank
that have got a door. You can sit in your own cupboard for 9 hours.
That sounds good.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
After the Christmas,
It's an experience.
Do they rent them out for like 24 hours or something like that? And don't
Great.
fly anywhere. I could just do
Just
with
go
that.
sleep
That would
in a
be
cupboard.
brilliant.
Oh.
Yeah, that'd be great.
They're very nice. But from Gatwick, unfortunately, it's the old fleet. And we know that from this year's experience.
And you got stung
Right.
big time.
Couple
And
times,
a lot of people got stung on that Gatwick flight
So-
last year as well. So
People who listen to us regularly know that I'm a BA girl just because I like collecting their points. But in this situation, I am looking at Virgin Upper. So the flights cost were a total for the 4 people of £15,778.
That's not
Terrible.
which sounds
Are you serious?
with
4 people.
I have to admit, I once seen Price of Bus for upper class, and it was 11,000 between us.
Right. So
So-
that works out at £3,944.50 per person.
bagging. No.
That's where we're starting. That's
Couldn't
right.
sound better.
Where we're starting.
You know what? I agree with you.
I'm trying not to
about
swear
the
here.
Virgin,
I'm trying not to swear.
Virgin upper
I
class.
just
The
wanna be
only
ridiculous.
thing is, hope you don't get the A330, which we had on upper class once, and it's not great because you get one row where you're seated that way, and then the other row seated that, and it felt like the flight.
I quite like the old
Oh,
747
Yeah.
configuration in Upper was beautiful.
Now we're talking. If we're talking aircraft,
With the little bar at the back, you can sit at the bar.
Yes.
That's nice.
yeah, A330
Yeah.
should be a short haul
Yeah.
flight. A350 is a beautiful aircraft. It is
Yeah,
really
that's
well
awesome.
suited, to long haul. Both of them are Airbus. If you go in for the Boeing alternative, Boeing have really messed up. And so have the airlines by getting rid of the 747s,
I know.
because actually the 747s,
So spacious.
despite their age, they were just beasts, and
Amazing.
they absorbed so much. And what we're also finding is, I think, if I'm going off the top of my memory here, I think there's only Lufthansa that fly into Orlando with an A380 at present, and that is from Frankfurt. It's not from any British
No.
airport.
Yeah, the A380s for Virgin.
Yeah.
Yeah, they all go to Miami.
They all
It's a
go-
Miami if you want an A380.
Yeah, and it's
But I
the
couldn't be bothered with
A380
transfer.
A380 is a
They're
different
nice.
kettle of fish.
It's a different.
still not. It's not as good as a 747. Well, I'll get that.
I agree with you.
I'll leave my airline nerding bit to one side. Go on, Claire. Get
So
spend
we
your
managed to
money.
get to Orlando for the cheap
It's done.
£15,500. I'm also going to do a split stay, Ben. I've also gone for a period of time at Walt Disney World and then a few days at Universal because of Epic Universe, and obviously going in August it'll be open. So I've gone for the first 10 days, 9 nights at the Poly. Never stayed there. It routinely comes up as people's favourite place to stay. Now, bearing in mind the configuration of the family that I'm looking at, I could have gone for 2 standard rooms.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that.
You could-
So I needed space
Yeah.
for at least 2 bedrooms, preferably with a bed somewhere in the middle as well, so that Morgan could have a room, we can have a room, and then Millie's got a bed space as well. And the one that was available was the Ambassador Vice Presidential Suite.
It's-
And I was been thinking you were going to go for the poly bungalows.
I didn't go for bungalows because I know this is a ridiculous amount of money that we're talking about. For me, there is something about getting a bit of value as well. And I don't think the poly bungalows are great value because you've got the boats plus, they're
You've
haunted,
got
they're
the
full.
ferry, you've got the electrical water patch.
I'd rather stay at the cabins of Wilderness Lodge. Just going to do that.
I don't want to spend ridiculous money unnecessarily. So I want to get good, reasonable value for mine. So I want the presidential suite, which has got concierge, club lounge.
Yep.
It's got one room with a king bed, one room with 2 queens, and then it's got a day bed, sofa, pool, like Murphy bed in the middle. It's got a kitchen, it's got a lounge area, and you've got
is
your
that
own.
in the new tower, or is that still in
No,
the...
it's in the. Which building is it? I can't remember.
I
It
know
doesn't
what building
matter.
it. No, what
At that
building it
price,
is.
at that price, those 2 queens better be good. That's all I'm saying.
So the price for that. You ready?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
I think you are.
no, it's just wrong.
Is
If you're driving at the moment and you listen to this, right, please pull over to the side before
Have a
Claire
guess.
reads these numbers out. To
take
you,
a deep
because
breath.
actually-
It's
Yeah.
not as bad as you think it would be.
That's what you said about the
I always feel like you should
It's
put
more again.
It's for 9 nights.
For 9 nights.
9 nights for 4 people in the Ambassador Price Presidential Suite, which is
£21,000.
Reckon, what do you reckon?
I reckon 18.
It's 23. £23,279.
I'm just happy that I was close.
Yeah. But the poly bungalows would have been more expensive.
Yeah.
By quite a
Claire,
lot.
do you know what I'm really pleased with? Is the fact that all the cookies on your computer are going to be so skewed.
Oh, I know. I'm stuck.
Everything you book now, they are going.
Anyone listening to the show,
Right
their
to
phone
the-
is going
This
to be
is not
popping
how
up on their
much-
Facebook, going like, "You should stay here. You should fly an upper class with Virgin." It's going to get all these
sort of money
adverts.
that's happening.
Oh no! that
Okay,
is-
but then
oh, my word.
the other nights, the 26th to the 30th of August, I'm going to stay at Royal Pacific. So I did look at the other. I looked at Helios. I looked at Royal at Hard Rock. But actually, I like the theming of Royal Pacific, and it looks really nice. You do get front of the line passes, which means that works. We don't have to buy them. And the room that I chose was a king suite.
Yeah.
2 of them because they only sleep 3 people. It's got a king bed and then it's got a sofa bed. So actually, all 4 of us wouldn't manage to fit in one room. So for 4 nights, those 2 rooms cost $6,500. So that's
When you
that's
press like express passes, and when you
it's a ridiculous amount of money, Ben. You can't justify it.
no, I'm not
You're
justifying. If
playing
you've
the
got that
game
budget, yeah,
Tickets cost the same as yours. So 14-day tickets for 4 people at Walt Disney World was £1,724,
Yep.
and 14-day tickets at Universal, including the day at Epic Universe, was £1,940.
I think
So-
I've got better at the hotel. I think I agree that not staying at Helios. Because
Yeah, it didn't.
There
It
are
wasn't
no
worth it.
perks. There are
No.
no perks in staying at Helios.
Yeah.
And
You
actually,
get
if
the
I'm only
walkways
going
at the
to,
universe.
right,
One night.
I'm only going there for 1 day, and I want to be near the other parts because I'm going to be there for 3 or 4 days. So
Yeah.
you know what?
Yeah.
It wasn't worth it for me. I know this is a ridiculous amount of money, but I've still had to be kind of thoughtful about how I wanted to spend that stupid amount of money. So going on that basis, I didn't bother with a car. I decided I could probably get a chauffeur, but staying on site at the Poly, there's sufficient transport options.
Yeah.
And if we want to go somewhere, we'll get an Uber or something. So
Yeah.
the total cost flying with Virgin Upper, staying at the Poly for 9 nights, the Royal Pacific for 4 nights, and then tickets for both was, I'm going to say quickly, £49,380. So that is an individual cost per person of £12,325.20.
I think that was rather conservative.
Yes.
I know. I could have gone. To be
much
fair,
more.
if I'd gone to the Grand Flow, I could have spent a lot more money. And I did look at things like the 3-bedroom grand villas at Old Key West, which I would have. I nearly went with that because and that actually came out not that dissimilar to the Poly. So there's probably about, when you're getting into the realms of nearly
think when you're looking at-
£50,000,
When you look at deluxe
£5 grand
resorts,
here or there.
yeah, a lot of the deluxe resorts are very close price, especially when you are looking at the ones
The bigger
that are-
rooms,
the bigger
yeah.
rooms that are that sort of size. 'Cause
And like
we
the
saw
three-
one
The
in
3-bedroom
Riviera,
grand
which is
villas
free.
are huge.
Yeah.
Like the duplex one at Animal Kingdom Lodge, they're
Yeah.
amazing. And if you
Well,
if you've got a big family, if you've got 8 people who are going to share that, it is worth pricing that up because it may end up being cheaper over a longer period. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So I know it sounds ridiculous cost, but it is sometimes worth, if you're going with a group and you're happy to share a larger apartment or a condo style room and you want to stay on site, it is worth looking at that.
Yeah.
So yes, I looked at renting a house in Golden Oak, but the £50,000 it cost me didn't cover it. So,
Wow.
so yeah, I just, that was my slightly ridiculous
I love that. That's really
trip of a
tell you what,
lifetime.
I remember back to one of the very first podcasts we did with Lloyd. Lloyd and I said we go and cut the grass if only we could actually.
We said we got the lottery.
If we won the lottery,
we buy a house and we'd cut the grass on one of them stand-on
Yeah.
lawnmowers and things like that. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Claire, actually, I would say thank you for all your research and all that, but it's completely worthless because I would imagine
No one's going to pay that, are they?
all I can say is
No,
well done to the
no.
person who's won the Euro Millions. If you want to book a trip,
Let me know and I'll help you.
Yeah. It's just I can't get my head around the numbers.
No, I know. It's so funny.
Let's reel it back in. Let's get a little bit of absolute reality about trip planning, and we're now down to we've only got 2 budgets on the go. So I've got my fingers crossed here that I'm not going to end up with the one that I don't really want, and probably Becca's the same. But hey, we'll go for the random generator, and the random generator is going for it's a £2,500 to £3,000 budget, which actually is the one that I actually think is the one that makes this is realistic, and this is one that I actually think that if anyone noticed in the last segment where Claire gave her thing, I never wrote anything down, right? So there was nothing written down. For the next bit, I'm going to give you my complete rundown of what I've got planned if I'm the one selected. So here we go. Random generator. I'm praying it. I'm absolutely praying. I've done loads of work on this. Right, here we go. And then and the virtual hat says it's Becca.
Phew. Glad I didn't get the really, really small budget. I wouldn't have been going.
I'm not sure how you'd be going on
dear,
£50.
No, I wouldn't.
No, here we go. No, here we go. Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, I'll go. I'm gonna stop in the corner. I'll stop in the corner for a bit.
So, I actually got 2 different dates. I've been very thorough with
Are we going twice?
Yeah.
Not for that budget.
I had a look at some prices kind of before Epic Universe opened in the beginning of May. And then I had a look at some prices in August when everyone else is going because, let's make this a big trip.
We need a big Great British Mickey Waffle meetup in August, I think.
That would be good.
Yeah.
Not much in it if you can kind of figure things around and decrease hotel niceness and things in August to make it fit a bit more. So for the August one, like everybody else, I'm going with Virgin just because it's working out slightly cheaper. I'm actually going into Tampa though, unlike everybody else. Direct economy, 2 people, £1,947. This was flying 11th to the 25th, so Monday to Monday. So, which I was under the £2,000, which is what I was aiming.
Yeah.
Now, hotel, I did look at Endless Summer, and it was coming out slightly cheaper than the one that I chose. And the reason that I chose this one was because actually, if we stayed at Endless Summer, I would have had to include parking at not only the resort for 2 weeks, but on my Disney days. And that would have then brought the price up to over the amount for the All-Star Music, which is what I chose because it was one of the cheapest Disney hotels to stay at. 2 people, no tickets, £1,771. So Endless Summer was coming out at, I think, 1,200. But with all the parking, it was going to be about £600. So it brings it over, and I am slightly over budget anyway.
You're more likely to stay at Disney for a longer period than you are visiting parks than you are probably going to Universal.
Yeah. Tickets, combo ticket that Ben mentioned earlier from attraction tickets with the discount, Epic Universe, 1,760. And decided to hire a car. Now, I could take this off because I'm staying at Disney for most of it, and I would then be under budget.
Yeah.
But this one was a Hyundai Elantra or similar for 658 for 2 weeks, which I didn't think was bad. Not quite sure how big that car is, but there are many times.
Can I also just point out to people as well, if you listen to this and you are planning on booking a car, make sure you have the ability to cancel and rebook right up until you actually collect the car. Don't don't pay in full. Don't actually just pay what's available. There are so many places out there online. Last year, I used Auto Europe in the UK. I cancelled my car hire about 7 times in order to get a really good
Wow.
deal. And
I thought that was something that I did. That was only 3 times. I thought I have to admit we booked
but they were
Tesla, and it went down time
Yeah.
from £400 for a week down to
Yeah.
£196 for the week.
Yeah.
And I was amazed how much it drops in
Yeah.
those months leading up to it.
There were lots of people last year who ended up, they booked through what was perceived as a glitch through Jet2, but it wasn't Jet2, it was booking.com who were providing the car hire. Everybody who had booked through the glitch actually managed to get the car that they actually wanted. So again, if you're watching online forums or you're watching social media where people are actually suggesting that you can get a real bargain, it is there. It is a case of just don't pay totally up front. Now, with Auto Europe, you pay on your credit card, but they refund you every single time that you find something different. You just change the car, change the booking, whatever. But keep going back in, keep checking, because for every single time, the price comes down. When you get a little bit closer to your holiday, what you find is the price goes back up again. So be a little bit savvy, be a little bit clever. I think overall, I think our first booking that we made for last summer was about £1,200, and in the end we paid £480 for about 3 weeks car hire, which again
I never realised that.
Do the math.
I know you can cancel. Majority of them do offer free cancellation, so you can go in and rebook. And I know my experience with Jet2 that we booked with, we used a 25% discount code that was available, and then obviously they moved. It was the back end system was booking.com, but it was so easy to go in and go, I'll just cancel it within, and then you just sort of look back in, go, rebook, and it was just like we saved at least £200 to £300.
It's massive, Ben.
It really surprised me because I kept thinking, it's like there's could be a glitch somewhere, because I kept going like, I can't get this car hire, this Tesla for like six days for like £196. It was amazing.
It's something just to bear in mind. I was just putting out there because again, if you're one of the type of people like me, you listen to the show and you're just making notes. That's maybe one way that you can actually save a few pounds. Again, I think Claire mentioned it earlier. If you do a fly drive with BA or with Virgin, again, there are little bits of offers that are available there. Unfortunately, on a fly drive, what you pay when you book is generally you're locked into that.
Yeah,
you don't get the little game that you can kind of play as well. Which some
there are things and roundabouts, and I think
I think that's it, Claire. I'll put your hands up.
You can pay a deposit.
Yeah.
And not pay the amount for your flight. So it's what's important to you.
I would also put my hands up and say there has been years where the discounts don't come. So again, I'm just as you listen to this and you're thinking, I'll just wait and wait and wait.
Yep.
You've really got to be on your toes. You've got to be looking. You've got to be able to look across a lot of websites. If you can't be bothered with that, then just put it to one side. Take what you booked. If you can and you enjoy the bit, then I just enjoyed the battle. But that's me.
No, these ones were through Kayak.
Yeah.
658 for the Hyundai. Interestingly, what we were saying, when I looked at the May prices, I managed to find a Ford Mustang convertible for 686.
Oh, do that.
Oh, yes, please.
The wind in Ben's hair.
I know.
Oh, thank you.
So, unfortunately,
August,
it was.
Use a hat
solar panel.
Get this Christmas hat back out. That Christmas hat will do fine.
It'll finally lose it.
How bad Ben's head would be.
Yeah, unfortunately for August, it was about £300 more. So, but if I looked in 3 months' time, I might have gone down a bit.
Yeah.
Never know. So per person, it worked out to be £3,068. It was slightly over. Obviously, if I add a little bit more jiggery pokery with some of the car hire. I may have been, if I'd chosen a slightly cheaper car, might have been able to get that down slightly.
If you didn't
but
have a car and you decided
if I
to
didn't have a
Uber
car
it
at all.
instead.
However, we are flying into Tampa, so
Mm,
at least a car for 2 days is going to be needed.
yeah. Because how long is the drive from Tampa to like Disney?
1 hour, 20 minutes.
About yes.
Ish.
It's
And
it's
who's
50
driving?
I mean,
No,
It's
you
fifty-
do-
That's the Eiffel.
That's normal driving up the Eiffel.
you
Yeah,
could
it's
Uber
50
it, but
Yeah.
I'm not sure I'd want to be in an Uber for an hour and 20 minutes.
I think there's a lot of, I'd rather have a car ready
Yeah.
so I can go than wait for an Uber that might not turn up, especially if you're going, because I know some Ubers are happy to stay local. They won't go all the way to Tampa to Disney.
So yeah,
I'm liking that.
yeah, it's a nice.
How much did it come to per person total?
Per person was 3,068.
Okay.
Slightly over. Only just.
Yeah.
We'll let you have that.
I think you get it in below.
And that's
And
summer
you could get
holidays
it,
as well.
and that's summer holidays, and you could get it below that with some
Yeah, definitely.
jiggery pokery on
good.
flights and tickets.
And it's amazing how much difference you can get by going to Tampa versus Orlando.
Yeah, sometimes it is just cheaper,
Yeah.
and sometimes it isn't. But it's worth a look.
Yeah.
If you're happy
and
to
he-
go to Tampa.
And the
it's
thing
not
is,
far.
it's like half an hour to Disney from MCO to Disney. It's just another 40 minutes on top, really, isn't it? It's not.
And if you were flying in with Virgin to MCO, actually, to be fair, flying into MCO with anyone, because I've sat there waiting for my bags with BA flights in Terminal C just as long as I've waited for flights with my bags in Terminal B. By the time you've done that and you stood in the immigration queue, although use the NPC app, people, then you don't need to.
Very much so.
By the time you've done that at MCO, got the car or got an Uber and driven over to Walt Disney World, that can easily be an hour and a half to 2 hours wait from getting off the plane to arriving at your hotel. At Tampa, it literally takes me, every time I've done it, 20 minutes from the plane to picking a bag up and then jump in the car and drive over. It really doesn't work out any different in terms of time. It's just distance. So if you're happy to hire a car and that's your plan, Tampa is definitely worth a look.
It's a nicer drive as well.
And it's such a nice airport. The people are friendly. I know I say this every time. They don't shout at you at Tampa Airport.
Well,
Speaking of that,
I can't wait. I can't wait to go to August.
Can't wait for Tampa.
Speaking of airports where people shout at you, if the price is right, do not be put off by going to Miami, because actually I know it's a 5-hour drive back up, but to be really honest with you, a 5-hour drive, you can actually find it. You can find a layover. And just.
Well, I mean, we were sorry, John. We were talking about the fact that in the UK, would you drive 4 hours to get a flight from Manchester?
Yeah.
If it was cheaper, you would. So why would you not drive 4 hours at the other end if it was cheaper?
Yeah.
I wouldn't suggest doing both because that then extends your trip by a lot. But if you're happy to fly into Miami and either stay or drive up in one go, it's not that bad.
It's being flexible, working out what actually you have to work out that cost that money that you save. Is it worth it? Is it worth me paying a little bit extra and actually gain time back? You just got to work it out. Sometimes it is.
Equally, Ben, we've stayed overnight in Miami and then paid for the hotel. We stayed at Boca Raton, which is about it probably took us about 2 hours because we just hit the wrong time.
Yeah.
But we found a really nice hotel. We've also stayed at Fort Lauderdale just because you hire a car, you get out the airport, you start moving up, and then the following morning you're up
early.
So you then can make really good use of open roads.
Yeah.
Drive within the speed limit, because actually
that special lane. That special lane that they have, the through lanes on that road. Thank goodness for them.
Yeah. It adds a lot more hassle into your holiday, but if you and you can get some real bargains going into Miami.
You can,
because if you're looking for that as well. Becca, is that your trip complete? Because I am dreading this.
It is. I mean, another thing I will say, talking of adding on time to your journey.
Yeah.
I did notice the indirect flights weren't that much cheaper than direct flights at the moment. The only ones I saw that were particularly a lot cheaper, I say a lot cheaper, a couple of £100 cheaper, were from airlines that I didn't recognise. So I stayed away from them.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's worth going for a coach. Yeah, sometimes. but sometimes
So go Delta rather than
to be
Virgin.
fair,
Yeah.
Sometimes
Look,
that works.
if I'd looked
Yeah.
into them, they may have been a code share on an airline that I was.
I think we've
comfortable
done
flying
that
with.
before. We flew with
done
American Airlines. I was on a British Airways flight.
Ooh,
Which other
I
way
would do
around.
that.
But it was one of those. It was British Airways we booked, but it was actually an American Airlines flight.
No,
Worked out all
I-
right.
It
I
was
draw the
not-
line there.
I preferred the one on the
Delta flight. I
Virgin
really,
flight flying with Delta.
Yeah, I have to. We flew upper class then, so
That's right.
yeah.
God, John, it must be you who's got the rubbish
So
value.
the
I want to
random,
know what
the,
your
ran-
budget is. Phil.
the random generator has given me a budget of 1,000. This is my worst case scenario, right? 1,000 to
That's a
1,500
flight on its own.
per person, right?
Wow.
So
Okay.
is that Disneyland Paris you're going to, John?
So, well, no, because I was on page 25 of my notes thinking I couldn't possibly end up with that one. And yeah, so we go to Skegness. Right? We're going for a weekend in Skegness, and probably you can actually get a year's
Visit
worth
to
of
the Disney store.
Disney Plus subscription, etc. Right? And
Just about.
yeah, and by the time I finish, I could have a real strop about this, couldn't I? But I'm not going to. I'm not going to, because actually I've done my homework, right? Because I actually looked at this as the worst case scenario, and actually it is the worst case
Go on.
scenario. It is. Right. So if you are limited to a holiday of £1,000 to £1,500 per person for a trip to some form of Disney-ish magic. I'm going to put Disney-ish bit in big, right? So my first thought, like Ben said, was let's go to Paris. Because actually, if you live up north, going to Paris is actually, it's. I'm trying to think of a polite way of saying this, but it is an 8, right? Insert word before. I then looked at the fact that if you go to Paris, and the cheapest way to go in is in the car, so you're obviously going to pay for petrol, and you do an awful lot of driving. So you drive down there. I found a place at Manla Valley where I can get 4 nights for £300 on top of the shuttle with the car for £200, £213, petrol at £200, a 3-day Disney ticket. So if I say 4 nights, I'm in the parks for £240 per person, which is pretty good. And I also recognise the fact that if I am coming from the north, I need to be a safe driver. And I also need to stop off probably a couple of times, probably on the way down to Dover, and then probably.
Oh, you can stop with us. You can save that money. You can stop with us.
Thanks, Claire. So everyone listening to the podcast, if you live in the north, just say, and you go to Paris, just send Claire a message, and she'll gladly put you up. Yeah.
Ben's closer. Just saying.
Yeah, but Ben doesn't.
By about 10 minutes.
We can offer you a cup of tea.
We can offer you a cup of tea if you've got some.
I've got to admit, I actually this was my worst case scenario, and actually, it probably comes across in the way this sounds, right? Because as much as I love Disneyland Paris-ish, I would much rather not go and go to Orlando.
Yep.
And a trip to Disneyland Paris for what turns out probably a 6-night journey.
Yeah.
With a 3-day park ticket, 4 nights at Manla Valley in a very basic hotel, etc., comes out at £1,100 per person. Right. So at that point, I thought, well, hang on, right, let's have a little look, because actually, I seem to remember last year there's a little window there, and it is a little window when the exam season starts for schools, universities, etc., at the very start of May. Now, I seem to remember this was something that I was stunned at, and I was about to just jump on a flight, and I thought that would really annoy everybody, wouldn't it? I could go and say that I've been back to Disney before anyone else. But I didn't. I resisted. I started looking at this. Now, this is going on current pricing. And as much as I hate TUI, I really dislike TUI with a vengeance. So just don't consider this as a recommendation to fly with TUI. But their current pricing for the start of May this year from Manchester to Melbourne, that's Melbourne and Orlando, not Australia. Don't make that mistake. Or from Gatwick to Melbourne as well. You can get a flight either on the 1st of May or I think it's the 29th from Manchester for £408 return.
That's very good. That's very good.
That absolutely shook me to the bones. When you add your luggage into that, so obviously you're not going to go Ryanair style. It's 500. Basically, round it off. It's 500 quid.
Okay.
I thought I would only be able to see that if I said I was going last minute. It's not last minute. These prices were live last night as I was meeting those, which really surprised me. Right. The only issue I've got is that I can't afford a park ticket when I get there. So I can afford accommodation, and I can only go for 7 nights because I can't afford more than 7 nights accommodation. I found a place in Old Town, which if anyone has ever watched My Name is Earl on Channel 4, you might recognize the accommodation that I'm talking about. But however, it has got free parking. So I haven't got a car anyway, because actually I'm just going to rely on Uber and basically try to blag it in any way, shape or form. However, if you want to just be in Orlando at the start of May, I don't think you could do it any other time of year. But I could actually manage to do this with a little bit of a stipulation of using Uber and some food, and I could actually put that at about £450 per person. I could do a week. I could actually get a sneaky week in Orlando for about £1,450 if I went with TUI.
And you didn't do parks, but you went to Disney Springs and Celebration.
Yeah, and
the resorts.
and did the monorail loop, and actually decided that
That's good.
but you could do it.
I'm really surprised.
I thought it was impossible. I deeply thought it was impossible. I was going to have a real strop about this.
Well, just enjoy your time at Disneyland Paris. I'm not thinking you could get to Orlando.
If you were able to extend your flight budget ever so slightly, from the 1st of May to the 15th of May, so I don't know what it would be like for a week's flight.
But I'd have to pay for another week's accommodation. That was the
so I don't know whether it would be any cheaper to have a couple of days off the flight.
Yeah,
but the London Heathrow Tampa direct flight was £1,105 for 2 people.
Okay, so that's 550.
Yeah. So I don't know. As I said,
this is something I don't know why, but I'm sure it's exam season. I don't know why.
We've been that time of year before.
It's a really nice time to go.
And
I'm going that time.
I have a feeling it was cheap then as well.
The prices are just bizarre.
I did not pay £450 for my flight, sadly.
I can't believe it. I honestly didn't think I would be able to sit here and actually share with you the fact that I could actually get to Orlando and have 7 nights. Okay, I won't go into a park, but for generally the same price that I would drive from here to Disneyland Paris, and spend 3 days in Disneyland Paris and then drive all the way back.
I think the thing is, it's a very different holiday when you look at Disneyland Paris, and I totally agree that it's every time that we've looked and priced up Disneyland Paris more recently, it's like I'm paying that way out of what I expect Disneyland Paris to cost, so I'm going to just put in that. Yeah.
So that I agree with you. I think that Disneyland Paris is now so expensive, because there have been years where I've gone to Disneyland Paris 4 or 5 times in a year because we're we're so close to Folkestone. It's easy to drive, and it's been amazing value.
Yeah.
But now, the last 12 months I've done Orlando 5 times in the year for the same sort of price. So it really isn't.
I want to go to
value now.
But also, it's one of those.
Until Frozen's open.
There's so much change going on, obviously, at Disney Adventure World, which
I do not like
Disney
that
Studios parks. But it's I don't know why.
Really bad.
It feels like it should be something. I don't know. It's the same team from like Poundland. I think have got to come up with that name. It just doesn't fit.
Something from The Apprentice.
Yeah.
I would also add as well, just to surmise that as well, everyone blamed it on France having the Olympics last year.
It's just inflation.
I'm basically saying that, the prices have gone up massively purely because of the Olympic market.
They have,
Actually,
but they've said the same.
but they've stayed right up there.
it's
And I think,
And this goes to a lot of companies. If they know that people will pay that price, they will keep it at that price. And I think we will see that over the next few years with Walt Disney World. If Disney want to attract more people to go back to look what they've done for the tickets during the summer.
Yeah.
I can't remember the last time I could spend £419 on a 14-day UK Disney.
It's several years ago, and the thing is, in Disneyland Paris, you used to be able to go and book from a different country's website. You know, you can change your home country on the official website.
Yeah.
We've had cheap deals from the Italian site, from the Dutch site, certainly from the French site. It's been cheaper at times. I think we even did the Portuguese ones. And even now, those prices have crept up as well. So there isn't a cheaper way of doing Disneyland Paris unless you're prepared to stay off site in a very basic, in the Campanile down the road or whatever it is. And there are some great hotels off site. The fact of the matter is the cost in the park has now skyrocketed and it is still staying there. It's not changing in any way. It's just going up. And it isn't good value. And it doesn't matter whether your budget is £1,000 per person or £10,000 per person. And I know we talked about this when we talked about doing this show. For me, you still have to get reasonable value for money.
Yeah.
Like, I know my budget was ridiculous, but I wasn't going to pay for the poly bungalows because actually it doesn't give me anything
It doesn't
more.
fit for what you're...
But it also
your
didn't give me
party is.
anything more than I was paying in a ridiculous presidential suite. It didn't make it any more special. The fact that I've got, lights flashing at me and boats honking every 10 minutes.
And I'd much rather travel to Orlando than Disneyland Paris for a week.
This is it.
And enjoy being Floridian weather. The
Yeah.
accessibility of things like Disney Springs and the resorts. I can get that Disney magic without going to a park.
You can't do that in downtown. What is it? Disney Village.
Disney Village. No.
Disney Walls.
I think the other thing that surprised me, and I think this is where, in some ways, if you've been to Orlando a lot or you've been to Paris a lot, there's a big world out there.
Yeah.
And if you suddenly price yourself at a level which doesn't offer the value that you're talking about there, Claire, people will just decide that
they'll go elsewhere.
Yeah,
we're going to go and explore the world.
Yeah,
we're going to.
For £1,500 per person, there are some amazing resorts you can go to. Amazing, whether that be for a week. Some of the city, beautiful city breaks in Europe and things like that. You could get a really great trip for that.
And also get some incredible cruises as well for that.
Yes,
if that's what you want to do,
and
there are so many different options.
Yeah. That's a shocking bit, Ben, because actually, and again, we come back to a similar point that I think we probably preempted the end of a lot of shows last year where and again, it's not just a Disney thing, it's a universal thing. If people are not careful, you are going to lose a market because people will look elsewhere. And that's been one of the best things about doing this, from irrespective of price zone and things like that. If you want to go to a place you love and you've got the money to do it, even on the biggest budget or the littlest budget, you can get there.
Yeah.
I know for a fact, I've had a conversation in this house. We know we've got a 4-day ticket from, I think it's about 2002. And we know that there's one day left on a Disney ticket, and we're going to have to go and find it. I know where it is. It's in a photograph album somewhere. But
maybe.
But we will turn.
4 days, you can do all 4.
No, we've used 3 of them. We've only got one. I've only got 1 day left on it.
Well, I remember Lloyd having that as well, didn't you?
Yeah.
A paper ticket or something where they had 1 day left. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's only one option. If you've got 1 day left, there's only one option. You're wearing it. You're wearing it.
It's Epcot.
Yeah.
Of course it's Epcot. Always going to be Epcot.
You've got to go back to see the lights in that new area that's been fixed.
They've been fixed. It's always, it's always going to be Epcot.
Yeah. It is your spiritual home, and I think
open, close.
Yeah, but I think more than anything, and everything we've spoken about in the show, I hope we've given somebody that little spark of just that bit where it doesn't matter if you only just come back, like our good friend Robin, or if you've not been for a number of years, like I hadn't until last year. Mm-hmm. If we ignite the spark for you to go again, I think that is where your 2025 starts, and it starts right here and right now. And I would be delighted if you just make sure you also continue to follow us each and every month on the podcast. We do try to have 2 podcasts a month with some really special guests in the mid-month show, or we go completely rogue and we decide that we just sort of share different stuff.
Surely not.
So that's what we do.
Rogue.
Yeah.
Us? No.
I like going rogue. This is what makes us what we do. And if you do that, do come and join us every Wednesday when we actually do go rogue.
We definitely
Every Wednesday live on YouTube with more opportunities to discuss things that are happening in the parks of Orlando, Paris, and afar, but just the ability to lift your midweek mood, because actually that for us is what a Wednesday show is all about. It's just connecting with you on YouTube. It is clear though, and I think we spoke about this.
Yeah, no, I think you're right.
Yeah.
And I think it's quite interesting for people who are listening to know that our Wednesday shows are completely unscripted. We do not plan ahead. We choose a topic, but we,
Turn up and see what happens.
we do some prep occasionally if we need to make a list of something, but we don't talk about it together in advance at all. It just is. We rock up and we talk to each other as if we were just mates down the pub. So, that's the feel of the Wednesday. That's what we want. So join us.
It's a bit like this show, because actually we've all prepped different things. And actually, I think what we've managed to do is put together, I've got a long list of ideas, and that's what we do. So, yeah, if you've enjoyed listening, do check out all of our social media at GB Mickey Waffle across each of the major platforms. If you haven't done so already, come and join our Facebook virtual British pub, the Waffler's Arms, where you will always be sure of a warm welcome. Bring your own drinks, right? Because we're not allowed to serve them. It's
No license.
It's a Rose and Crown thing. We'll be back on the January the 15th for our mid-month show. Until then, massive Happy New Year to everybody, and we'll see you soon.
We'll see you real soon.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Now my wheels in motion and my